Here we go.
Okay, so let me officially welcome everybody to BRA Banter. I'm Jahan Corbin. This is my bestie, my co-facilitator, Lynn Haddad, and we are so happy to host you today. And we are really thrilled about the two guest speakers that we have. A couple of quick things I want to share with you in case you are new to Banter or new to our organization. First, you may have just heard we are recording this Zoom, just so you know. So we do post it on the BRA website after it's over. So all these nuggets and these gems that these ladies are going to share with us today, and any questions that we have answered, will be available on the website in the future. And they're usually up for a month or two. So it's being recorded. The second thing, housekeeping, I just want to tell you is if you don't mind, please mute your audio if you haven't already. It just helps with that background noise and anything else that might come up. I will not mute us. And so that means you may hear my dog barking in the back, but hopefully he will be quiet. Um, if you are new to our organization, BRA stands for Breast Cancer Recovery in Action. Lynn and I have both been fortunate enough to be very involved from the early days of BRA. We were a 501c3 nonprofit organization founded in 2020. We are both breast cancer survivors, and our organization primarily, I'm just going to give you kind of the 30,000 foot view, but primarily we offer three main components to women navigating breast cancer, or anyone navigating breast cancer. I shouldn't say women. The first one is exercise, and that looks like group classes a couple of times a week where, we were just discussing this before we started recording, but whether it's breast cancer or something else, we all know the research shows moving your body is a good thing for us. No matter what age or stage of life you're in, it's good for you. So doing that in a group setting with a personal trainer who is specialized in knowing how to work with people who have had upper body, like lymph nodes removed, or radiation on their chest wall, or they've had tightness from recovering from a mastectomy or something like that. They're really good at helping us make progress and regain flexibility and build strength, but not hurting ourselves in the process. So exercise is the first E. The second one is education, and BRA Banter would fall under that umbrella. BRA Banter is a once a month offering that we bring via Zoom from 12 to 1. That's the current format that we're in. We've been at this for a couple of years. We also have, and we try to just do topics that cover the gamut, that are relative and relevant to the breast cancer community. And then we have things like supplement education or lymphedema education. There's different offerings, nutritional information. We have a registered dietitian on staff that can help us talk through what should we be eating after a breast cancer diagnosis. So education is the second E of the program. And then the third and final E, and the one that for me personally was the most significant, is emotional wellness. And what that looks like, I like to say it's like a book club meets a support group. It's getting together in conjunction with 6 to 8 other women, facilitated by 2 survivors. And we work through a curriculum that was actually written by our executive director, and it's specifically tailored towards breast cancer. And so you work through some of the emotions and feelings that come with a diagnosis like this. And then, and I would say for a lot of us, for me, this was true. And for a lot of people that I talked to, they share in this experience. We as women sometimes tend to just power through. You kind of like, you get the diagnosis and you add it to your to-do list and you just do all the things you have to do, chemo check, surgery check. But then when you get to the end of that, a lot of times it's really emotionally a lot to unload and unpack. And so we were able to do that in a safe space with a group of people who've had a shared experience. And then it doesn't leave you in that, you might acknowledge, like, what is the cancer taken from you? There's grief, there's anger, there's loss, but it doesn't leave you in that negative space. It then turns towards, okay, well, this is the reality. We're all part of this club nobody wanted to join, but here we are. So how do we move forward and live healthy and happy and hopeful lives without fear of recurrence and just constantly being bogged down? So anyway, that was more, I didn't mean to get into so much detail, I'm sorry, but exercise, education, emotional wellness. Those are the three primary components of BRA. We are so glad to have you. And if you have any questions for us about the organization, we're always happy to help you. But I'm going to turn it over to Lynn to introduce our speakers for today, who we are so excited to have.
Yes, I am so happy to be able to introduce, first of all, Celeste Black, who is a breast cancer survivor. And she was one of the very first guests on BRA Banter way back when we first launched. And she has an amazing Aunt Dorothy, who I would just love to meet in real life. So if Aunt Dorothy is ever at any of your in-person events, I really wish you would just flag that on Facebook. I do follow Celeste on Facebook so that I can get there and shake her hand. But Celeste, I would love you to tell us a little bit about how you got started with your skincare line. And I know that Aunt Dorothy has a role in that.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. You all are wonderful. It is so amazing to have this program, the support. So I really appreciate you all. So I am, I got diagnosed 6 weeks after I turned 40. I'm 12, almost 13 years out. Yay! And my cancer was not hereditary. I can't say that it specifically came from a certain place. I don't know. But the studies have shown that yeah, it kind of looks to all the skincare products I was using, the hair care products and things like that. So my aunt is, she's kind of out there, as Lynn said, she's the sweetest person in the world, but she can be hard on me. And she was like, I know you're going through this journey. She said, but we got to keep you moving. She said, so you need to find you something to do while you're going through this journey. And I was like, oh, okay. So she's like, you need to learn another language or find something to do. So I didn't want to learn another language. Um, but I did want to save my skin because I knew all the treatments I was going to go through was going to do a lot of damage to my skin. So I started studying women from Africa, Asia, and India. And I knew they lived off the land, yet they have the most beautiful skin and they're very healthy. So I started studying them and I just brought things together. And I would show my skin on Facebook. As Lynn said, I'm very active on Facebook. And so I wanted to share my story on Facebook so other women could be aware. And me being a woman of color, we don't always have the most education in our communities. So I asked God, I said, look, if you can let me get through this with grace, I promise I will always share my story. And I guess he said, okay, because here we go. And I started sharing my story. So people would look at my skin. They was like, I want some of what you're using. I would go to the doctors and they would look at me and they was like, are you sure you're sick? Because you don't look sick. And I'm like, based on the amount of money I'm spending here, I better be sick. Because I tell people all the time, I was like, we have multi-million-dollar bodies. When you look back at all the money that we spent, we have, because I went through a double mastectomy, a year and a half of chemo, um, radiation. And then I went through, I had the deep flap. So it was 3 parts. And you all know my first part was 11 hours. So I went through all that. So I started making skincare products. At the time, I was still working. So this started in the summer and I would send the products out and they would melt and do all kinds of things. And I said, look, Jesus, you can have this back because I'm not dealing with this. I got a job. I'm not going to deal with this. He said, no, 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 no. Come back. I got something for you. So instead of making the butters in the summer, he said, I've got some oils that are really like those butters. So you're going to make oils in the summer. And then in the fall, in the winter, in the spring, you can sell the butters. And so he just kept downloading stuff into me for me to make these products. So I would use the products and my people would use the products and their skin would become beautiful. And it just makes me so happy, not when regular people use the products and get results, but when the husbands contact me and say, hey, my wife is happy again. So that means they happy again, right? Or my wife feels sexy again, or my wife, or women are spending time with themselves because that's like you said, even when we're going through the breast cancer journey, we're worried about everybody else. Want to make sure that our families are okay. But to see these women glow again and be happy and take time with themselves is the most amazing thing. So my signature thing is where we heal the skin so that it's healthy, happy, and it glows. Because if we give the skin the right things, if we feed our body the right things, we're going to be healthy, we'll be happy. And the result of that healthiness is beautiful, glowing skin. So when you walk in a room, people are like, what's she's beautiful. What's going on with her? And it's just beautiful, glowing skin that makes you stand out and look healthy. And it also makes you look richer, right? It makes you look like you're more fluid when you have beautiful
You're
skin.
well kept. You're a well
Yes.
kept lady.
Well kept woman, yes.
That's
And
right.
so yeah, that's my story. I just love doing that. I love seeing the people happy. That's what really makes me happy. Is it a challenge? Absolutely. It's a business. But to see you all, I see Elizabeth with that beautiful, I don't know if it's red or purple or fuchsia lipstick, but she just looks beautiful. I see you all shining. You all are glowing. And it just makes me, after all we've been through, I will have to say, I've gone back and looked at my photos, guys, and I look better now
Mm.
than I did 10 years ago. But that's a blessing. That's a blessing from God, right? That's restoration. And coming off of the breast cancer journey, like you said, emotionally, it gets to us years and years afterwards. There's different things at different points that affect us, right? So to be able to look at yourself and see that restoration, and every year God gives me a word. And this year it's been restoration. So I've restored my body. But these last few years, He's been putting me through a lot of healing, and you have to go through that process. But this year he's like, you've learned, you've done a lot of healing, and bam, let's go even further, let's go more. So my breast cancer journey, as hard as it was, wouldn't wish it on everybody. It was my journey that I needed for my life, and it changed me tremendously, and I've been blessed tremendously. So a lot of times women get so down about their journey. Find out the reason. Connect with God so you can find out the reason why He needed you to go through that journey so you can move forward.
I love your outlook. I know I've heard it before, but I'm not sure everybody has. Do you mind sharing the creation of the name of your company and how that came to be?
Oh, sure. So, my name is Miriam Celeste, and I never went by the name Miriam. Miriam is a name in the Bible. It's Moses' sister in the Bible. And I come from a small town called Kingsport, Tennessee. So you can imagine a small Appalachia town, and then there's this Black lady with the name Miriam Celeste. So who can say Miriam? Who in the world can say Miriam? So nobody. So anyway, my parents never really called me that. It just so happened in school, sometimes they would call me that. And I knew, and I had a career, but I said, God, it has to be more to life than just work, right? And I knew at that particular time in my life, I was like, I think I'm getting to be pretty creative. And he said, you're going to have a business one day. He said, I want you to put your name on the back of your car tag. He said, in order for it to happen, you have to vision it and you have to see it. So I put the name on the back of my car tag, and my dad said, why you got that on your car? You don't even like your name. And I said, I'm being obedient. God told me to do so. And when I put the name on my car tag, it was Miriam and the initial B, just the initial D. He said, no, no, no. I like that name. When the business finally came around, he said, I like that name, but I need you to change the B to BE, period. I said, why? He said, because you need to know and you need to share that you can do and be anything that you want to do and be. And I think it's so important that we share that with young women. I know for me, I suffered with low self-esteem at times. He said, no, 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 we changing that. And that's another part of my journey, is to share with young women, with all women, not just young women, but with all women, about the low self-esteem. You can do and be anything you want to do. What do you need to do? What do we need to plan out? What direction do we need to go into so that you can do that? But he absolutely had to see the vision. Everything came to point. My aunt and I, we talked about bottles with the colors. My bottles are red and greens. Everything that he told me, it came to fruition. My business would have never been successful had I not had this journey behind me. He gave me this journey to push that forward, because nobody would have paid attention to me. Okay, you got nice skin, whatever. But when I've gone through the journey that I've gone through and I have this nice skin, then there's like, hey, it might be something else to that. So just being in connection with God, and he just downloaded me into things. So see the vision, write it down, and you'll see it manifest.
That's
I
amazing.
know that is amazing.
Thank you for sharing that. I always love to hear your story.
Thank you.
Inspiring. All right. Well, we're going to move on to Liz's story, which I don't know her story as well. I actually was introduced to Liz through my friend Peggy.
Mhm.
And so I'm actually excited to learn more about you today. I do know a little bit that you are an Army brat, an Army wife, and an Army mom. So I feel like there's some interesting material there. And I've heard from our mutual friend Peggy that you actually drive one of those fancy pink Mary Kay cars. Is that true? So you bigwig at Mary
Nice.
Kay. So you've kind of gone a different route in this industry. So I would love to learn more about you, how your journey started, and how you have enjoyed working with women who have been going through cancer treatments, Liz. Oh, can't hear
Oh,
you.
I think you might need to unmute, Liz.
Yep,
We
you're
can't
on
hear you.
mute. There you go.
So I'm actually celebrating my 25th year with Mary Kay this year. Nobody is more surprised than I am to have even be a part of this company. When I was first introduced, it really was, and Celeste, I'm all about it with you. It is all about the skincare. No matter who you are, whether you love a diva look or you're natural, and I tend to be more natural, every woman wants to have healthy skin. And the color is great, but it's like your house. You wouldn't paint your house without priming it first. And in the journey of skincare, as women go through the things that they go through, it changes and your needs change. As you age, it changes. If you're on specific medicine, it changes. And the beauty is that there are a lot of lines out there, and that can address those kinds of changes. But I was young. I was 48, so you can do the math. So you know that I'm celebrating my 69th birthday this year. But I was 48, and we were actually uh, right before we moved, the Army moved us to Israel in 97. I had been a part of Mary Kay, but I didn't know very much. And honestly, I put my name in a drawing. And this woman came to my house and she was just all that in a bag of chips. And I tried the skincare. I'd never heard of Mary Kay. I didn't know anyone. I just knew it was this little woman down in Texas. And but I loved everything that we did. The skincare, it was wonderful. And people would say, "Did you do something with your hair?" I hadn't done a thing with my hair, but it was the skincare. So I wasn't motivated to join Mary Kay. I just wanted to buy the products. But she left me Mary Kay's autobiography, and my husband was deployed at the time, so I read it. And I was like, wow, that was one powerful woman back in 1963. She had a vision. And but I thought it was a great story, but I certainly wasn't motivated to join Mary Kay. But I learned more and joined, and then we moved. And that, for an Army wife, that's not a small thing. You end up starting at the bottom of uh, the job level every time you move. It's better now, but back then, it wasn't as generous as it is today. And what I enjoyed more really was the opportunity of flexibility and freedom, because I had young children and I did move it. What I didn't anticipate was moving to Israel. And so I didn't take Mary Kay to Israel with us, but I was there. We were there for 2 years, a magnificent 2 year journey. And our children were in one was a freshman and the other was seventh grade. So they were in a great place to really take in everything. But my director came to visit us while we were there. And she said, what do you think you want to do when you get back to the States? And really, my heart's desire was to be with the State Department. And, but after the 2 years and getting an up close look, I was like, I really liked that moment of freedom and flexibility that I had with Mary Kay. So we moved I live in Gallatin, Tennessee, in a town I've never lived. My husband's from here. And I joined, and then I had a panic attack because I didn't know anybody. And I told everybody I was going to become a director and drive a free car. And so I kind of shut down for 3 or 4 months wondering, what am I going to do? And my husband he was assigned to Vanderbilt, and he came home one day with a flyer for a women's club associated with Vanderbilt University. And I was like, well, that'll get me to Nashville, you know? And so from there, my goodness, I've been a part of that women's club associated with Vanderbilt for my whole time here, 25 years. And what I didn't realize, because everyone in Mary Kay, this is one of the great things that I love about the company, is it's a very level playing field. You cannot buy your way to the top. Everybody comes in with the same starter kit, and I liked that. So it had everything to do with what's your heart's desire, what's moving you. And over the years, my goals and my focus has changed as I've gotten older, and my children, I'm a grandmother now. And I think that I was supposed to be a leader. I've felt that call all along. I've eaten a lot of humble pie in my Mary Kay journey, thinking that I was all that, and then learning that, well, maybe not. And so learning leadership skills and communication, and really building women, young women, more senior women, and putting my own ego in check. Uh, that's as transparent as I can get. You can't get to here and think that you're all that. It's not a question of how fast did you get there, it's how many people did you take with you.
Mhm.
And it's that kind of an impact that I have always wanted to have, and I'm always a work in progress. But I did pick up my first career card 9 months after joining, and I didn't do anything in record time. I just kept putting one foot in front of the other. And I would meet someone and we would share Mary Kay. And I kind of adopted the visor effect. So when and Celeste, this is just kind of, we're so in tune. She would get in her car and then she would pull the visor down. She just wanted to look at herself one more time. And if I was looking out my window and I saw her do that, I was thrilled. Whether she bought zero or she spent $200 or $300, it didn't matter. My job, my passion was to give her a great Mary Kay experience. And the company's this is the 62nd anniversary of Mary Kay. And I'm proud to say that her grandson, Ryan, took the reins over as the CEO. So it's a third generation, still privately owned, debt-free company. And I just got back. I think I mentioned that to you, Lynn. I was in San Antonio last week. Every year in January, the directors gather. And it's a great time for us because we're with our peers. And really, we're just sharing a lot. As opposed to the big convention that happens in July, and you have consultants with you, and you're pretty much the mother hen. And I find it very exhausting. But I love it because I love to see women of all ages catch the vision for their life, not for my life, but for their life. I've seen some amazing things happen in Mary Kay. I will tell you this, though I am not a breast cancer survivor, I did have thyroid cancer, and it was malignant, and we found it quite by chance, and it was in 2021. And we were actually looking for something else, and we found that, and it was oh my goodness, did you know you had this? Well, no, I didn't know I had that. And speaking to your comment about the emotional wellness, from the diagnosis to the surgery to the final pathology was record time. I thought was record time. And as I was sharing this with my son, who at the time was stationed in El Paso, Texas, and I called to tell him what the final pathology was, and he goes, "So, Mom, what did you have? Cancer for like 3 months?" And I was like, it was, he was making a joke, but I never said anything out loud about the fear ever. But I was. And that was a short period of time. So for my sisters who have the long, well, all of you, and then the follow on chemo and radiation treatment, I have nothing but profound empathy and respect. And I was very fortunate that they caught it before it metastasized. And then we would have been in, it'd be a whole nother story. But I can't say enough about my surgeon who had just come from MD Anderson in Houston, a female oncologist who, and the surgeon, and she was just marvelous and just wonderful. And they were awesome. Have never been a patient at Vanderbilt, and that was my first experience. And it was a good. It was I was lucky. I was fortunate. And to that end, it's amazing what he will do, the big HE, to get your attention to either slow down, stop and smell the roses, take a little evaluation. And of course, we're coming off of COVID. So there's just for everyone in the world, there was so much going on for sure. But you can imagine that over the course of 25 years, I've seen a lot of women, and I have so many of my original customers who would tell you today if they were on this, she's so much better today than she was when she first started, because when she first started, she didn't know jack about anything. So I had to be a good student of my craft for sure, because I don't come from an entrepreneurial background. I studied for U.S. foreign policy and tactical weapons when I was in college.
Wow.
The furthest thing, that's why I say nobody was more surprised than I was. But I fell in love with the vision that Mary Kay had. And I did. That's why I'm here today. That's why I stay in Mary Kay. So, but over the course of my career, man, it has been an education to learn how to work with women who are going through whatever stage it is. But the cancer and the radiation, the chemo is probably the most significant because your skin, oh my goodness. So it changes. And then if should you lose your hair, then the eyebrows, and you're not supposed to be a hermit. And so Celeste, I'm all about it, being able to be confident to come out of the house. And today I think we're more forgiving, but there are so many tips and tools that a woman can employ to just give her enough lift that raises her confidence. And she doesn't skip a beat, even when she feels the worst.
All right.
Well,
That's an excellent
That is
segue.
perfect.
That's
Okay,
a
yeah.
perfect segue. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Liz. And what I hear really from both of you, even though there are some differences, there are some similarities, but really I see both of you feeling like it's a calling that you answered and serving women and passionate about the women that you serve. I mean, I loved, Celeste, that you said you studied women from Asia and India. I mean, just y'all are, I just love, this is really, certainly in the breast cancer community, we're all about women empowering women. So I think we have similar goals here and similar demographics. So, okay, Liz, that was the perfect segue because I wanted to ask y'all both, we'd love to hear from both of you about eyebrows and eyelashes. Maybe Celeste, you could speak to like the regrowth factor, and then maybe Liz, you could speak to the camouflage or the makeup. I know,
Yep.
like for me, I'm a total skincare junkie. I have used Miriam B, I've used Mary Kay, I've used everything else under the sun. But I love mascara. Like that's my thing. So I lost my hair during the 6 months I was in chemo, and being bald was hard. But more than that, not having eyebrows and eyelashes for me was the hardest, because I could wear a cute scarf, I could wear a hat. It was the winter, so it looked appropriate to wear like a toboggan or whatever, you know. But
But
when
I wasn't prepared for that.
I wasn't either, and
Everybody,
when I
you expect yourself to go bald, but you forget the eyebrows, the eyelashes are gonna come off, and that is a
and that
shock.
to me was when I looked the sickest, when I looked in
Mhm.
the mirror, and I just, there was nothing, I just felt like I just looked, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I
Yeah,
looked sick. So
that really threw
um
me.
it was a really hard loss for me, those eyelashes. That may sound silly, but it really was more so than the hair. So if y'all would speak into that, I'd love that.
Okay, so things have, like Liz said, things have changed tremendously, right? So we have so many ways to get eyebrows and eyelashes, but 12 years ago, it wasn't as much like that. So I lost my eyebrows, I lost my eyelashes, and I went through chemo. A new drug was introduced. Went through chemo, my hair was going back. A new drug was introduced. My oncologist wanted me to take that, so my hair fell out again. And when that happened, it didn't grow back. Um, so lost the eyelashes. I look like a little boy. So I understand how important that is to you, because I just look like a little boy. So um, I'll be honest. I still have my emotional days. This is a wig, and when I take my wig off, and I have to see, I have hair, but it's very thin. And when I see that, there's still days that I cry. That is my biggest reminder. I can deal with the scars. I can deal with the stiffness, but to see myself without the hair, to always have to go. Sometimes I get so frustrated. I'm like, why do I have to go buy eyelashes all the time? It can be very frustrating and hurtful. Luckily, I've been surrounded by people who say, I don't care if you got eyelashes or eyebrows or hair, you're just as beautiful. But we as women, we want to look and feel a certain way. Then you have social media where everybody's got filters and all this. And so then sometimes we compare ourselves. Well, do I look like that? I want to look like that. So there's a comparison. So I know for me, um, lost all my hair, eyebrows, and everything. So when I started really going to the gym and I was really into it, I would get up in the mornings and I would get dressed for the gym. And I still do that to this day. I would get dressed for the gym, and that meant getting up, taking a shower, putting on my moisturizer, smelling good, and even putting on my eyeliner, my lips, my lip gloss, my eyelashes. Because when I went in to the gym, when I saw myself in the mirror, I wanted to feel and look beautiful, right? So that's how important it is. And a lot of people don't understand that. Yes, we're glad to be living. Yes, we made it. But those are the, like you said, you can put on clothes, you can put on hats and wigs, but those eyelashes and those eyebrows that frame your eyes, it's a big thing to me. So I still struggle with that sometimes. Luckily, we have so many amazing things. I actually got my eyebrows tattooed on. I go get the extensions, but I also care for the women who can't afford to do that, right? Because everybody can't afford to go and do those things. We've been very blessed in there. So I pray for them. But yes, it's a very important part, and that's, I'm glad to see that you can even get the eyelashes that you put the eyeliner on and it's magnetized, and you can just kind of click the eyelashes in. So there's so many amazing things right now. And that's why I tell women, if they come to me, we're going to get through this. We're going to keep that skin beautiful. And there's so many things out there that I'm going to help you with so that you can keep looking beautiful. My family was on me about staying as normal looking, normal routine as possible. And my father gave me this word. And the whole time I was going through the journey, he said, what is your vista? He said, I want you to go sit down. I want you to take some time and sit down and write with what your vista is for after you're through this, because you're going to get through this. So I'm like you, I never had time to think about, am I going to die? Because I was too busy fighting to make sure that I lived.
Mhm.
And that was my goal. And when I came out to be even more beautiful afterwards, honey, because that's a testament to the God I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
All right. So Liz, do you have any suggestions?
I do. So Celeste, to your point about our s- um our sisters who may not be able to have walk the same with tattooed brows and so forth. There are a couple of tools. And what I would say is your eyebrows, you're absolutely right. They frame the face, but the eyebrows are sisters, not twins. So they will never, ever be even. Unless maybe you have them tattooed. And this is one of the things that makes me chuckle. We do have a little bit of fun with it because you could spend 2 hours working on trying to get the one then the other. And as soon as you get this one perfect, this one's like, no, I don't think so. And it's just forever. But so what I want to tell you is they are sisters, not twins. They're never going to look exactly the same. But one of the things that works really well, well, let me tell you what doesn't work very well, or you should use with caution. There are some really great, now I'm showing you this product just by way of showing it to you. I'm not, uh, just so you know, these things are out there. But
Yeah.
anyway, this is a blonde brow pencil, and it happens to be pretty light. And it's great to use it as your outline, whether your hair is dark or whatever, it matters not. What matters is what happens next. But you can use this as you have to have it put it on a clean face because you don't want your eyebrows moving around once you get them on, so to speak. And there are actually stencils that you can buy, a little package of stencils. You get it as close as you can, but you would kind of outline it with a brow pencil, and it doesn't need to be a dark one, just a soft one. And then you can come back, and what we do in Mary Kay is we have a pretty standard shade of it's a chroma fusion eyeshadow called hazelnut, which should be in every woman's um, color repertoire. And we use a brow brush that looks like this, not unusual. It's the
Mhm.
same for, I mean, this is just a typical brow. And so you would dip it in that chroma fusion eyeshadow, and you're now just going to brush on where you just did, where you kind of did your outline. So where does a brow go? It starts right here on the edge of your nose. That's where your brow should start. And then it doesn't come all the way out here where you're flying away. This is not the flying nun kind of thing. You're just going to use the end of your nose, and it comes to here. That's your brow. That's the only little space you have to work with. And then your arch is really right over the iris of your right on the brow bone. And why is that significant? Because once you've darkened this, whatever shade it is, and it's always easier to go light and add than to go super dark, and now you have to start all over again. But then if you decide, and I do recommend it, and we have a lot of fun with it, you would put a little lighter shade right underneath here, which lifts the eye. And that is a really simple but effective solution to putting eyebrows on. If you are a brunette like you are, blonde is not going to be your friend. You would go with a little bit darker shade. And then if you wanted to, this is another little product, and it's a brow gel. I personally happen to use a blonde brow gel, but we have clear. And the clear puts everything in place and sets it. Even if you've had to draw in your brow, sometimes it comes in and you have like six six little hairs.
Yeah.
But we don't want to pluck those. We
Right.
want to hold on to them as much as we can. So really, they sort of form the basis of what you're going to create there. And then, and if she's fortunate enough that her brows will continue to grow, we're just grooming with that it's called a spoolie. We're just always combing back, adding a little bit of product to create a little bit of depth. And eventually, with practice, brows go just like that. And after everyone accepts the notion that they're sisters and not twins.
You know, that's supposed to be true of breasts too.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly.
Oh,
They're not exactly the same. They're not exactly the same.
Had
well,
I
there you go.
of them before they left, I think they probably weren't exactly the same.
Yeah.
I love the idea of the optical illusion that you're talking about with like putting the shadow underneath. Like that's a really helpful tip. And I will tell y'all one really funny thing. When I ended my 6 months of chemo, I was so thrilled and I threw myself a big party and I invited everybody that I knew. It was in May. And my daughter at the time, I mean, she's still my daughter, but she was a competitive cheerleader at the time. She was in junior high, and man, those were some days. But she had she had false eyelashes that I had to glue, for her competitions and everything. Well, I was in that phase. I had no eyebrows, no eyelashes. So I'm having this big party. I had coordinated my outfit to go with my cute chemo beanie. So I felt good about my chemo beanie. But I thought, what am I gonna do about my makeup? So my sister came up and helped me, and we tried to do the falsies that I had borrowed from my 10-year-old daughter. I tried to do the false eyelashes and I penciled in some eyebrows, but I did not know the clear gel trick, Liz, that you just shared. And it was one of those random May days when it got really hot.
Oh, no.
Outside, and it got really hot. And I had just finished chemo too. So my body was all dysregulated, all my hormone, everything was just off. And I was sweating profusely. And I'm standing there having a drink, visiting with a friend, and there goes my eyelash into my drink. And when I went inside to, I was like, and I was like, how do I gracefully get out of this? I thought, excuse me, please. Excuse me as I retired to the restroom. And when I got inside, my eyebrows were all down. Yeah, I was literally a hot mess. So anyway, we have laughed about that. I
You
tried.
have to laugh.
You have
rather
to
than
laugh.
cry.
I
That
mean, you
is
try. I
true.
tried, but anyway.
Oh,
And the yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry,
I'll stop.
no, nothing. No,
Okay.
sorry.
No, I was just
Um,
gonna say Amy Ryan, Liz, is my Mary Kay person. Do you know Amy? She's over.
I do.
I adore
do.
her. I adore her. And granted, it's my shade that I've worn for years, and I love it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, let's see. So we're running a little behind. Let's do eyelashes and then we're gonna go on to dry skin if that works.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get those two covered
That's right.
in our remaining 15 minutes. Okay. So Celeste, any thoughts to chime in on eyelashes, or I know that you get yours done.
Yeah.
Do you have serum for eyes, Miriam? Does Miriam B have some kind of eye serum?
I do. I have a eye serum for the
Oh.
wrinkles and the dryness and all that stuff around the eyes. And it's like I make mine in a roller ball,
Oh, yeah.
like in a roller, so you can get the massage and the coolness of it because you want to get that puffiness down. And so it's very cooling to the eye. And then I just go in. You go in with the ring finger that has the least amount of pressure, and you just pat it into the skin. Yeah.
Right.
Gets
Do you
rid of
keep it in
dark
the
circles.
fridge, or it just the rolling ball is already kind of cool? You keep it in the refrigerator?
I don't.
Okay.
And it's, a lot of people have little refrigerators in their bathrooms, so they put them in there. I don't keep mine in the refrigerator. It's already just cooling. It's a metal ball,
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
so it's already cooling. And because after getting out of my chemo, I had really dark circles around my eyes, low iron, and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it gets rid of all the puffiness and the dark circles and all that. So I love that. So every one of my products have a story, and it
Right.
relates to what I need. Every one of my products. Yeah.
Okay, so Liz, what about like eyelashes? I know,
Yeah.
before we
Um,
started recording, I just remembered, I don't think we were recording when we were joking with Celeste about the snow day messing up her eyelash appointment. So she does get eyelashes put on. Do you like suggest like people, does Mary Kay do that or have a product?
Um,
Or do you
Well, I
recommend?
have to tell you, I personally find when I work with brides, and if they want false eyelashes, I say that's great.
Uh-huh.
I can't even put them on myself.
Yeah.
However, I have found the workaround that works really well. So
Mhm.
first of all, if you're using the false eyelashes, you have to be so careful about the glue,
Mhm.
because if you don't have any eyelashes, getting that glue in here is can be problematic.
Right.
So the answer is, well, the workaround is, and it works great. I'm just going to show you this. Everybody has a pencil like this in their repertoire, but it um, has a really dense feel to it.
Is that foam at the
Yeah,
end?
no, it really is brushes. It's just
Oh,
so
brush at
thick,
the end. Okay, okay,
for control.
okay.
And depending on her skin tone, we go again with an eyeshadow. And
Oh,
my first thought always is, and this is where I work, this is where we start when I'm working with someone who's coming through or is on the other side or just starting, and she's learning the techniques. But we use this, and we use eyeshadow, by the way, to create an eyeliner. And then we create it a little thicker on the outer third of your lid. You're not putting on eyeshadow per se. You're using this as eyeliner. What it does is it gives a lift to the eye already. So there's no attempt, unless she's got some lashes,
mhm,
to use mascara yet.
right.
But we work with products that will help to lift the eye, because really that's what we want to do. That's what we're trying to create anyway. So if we've got the brow thing going already, then where we go next is I use a primer, but it's a shaded primer that has a little bit of sparkle. And this happens to be called bronze or beach shimmer, or something like that. And it's a great color. It's on a sponge. And when I put it right here on the back of her hand, and she just uses her ring finger and she dots it all over. So now we have a, a canvas that allows us, whatever we put on next, which is a little darker shade, creates depth in her eye. So again, we've got the brow thing going on top, and then we use a primer, and this is a shaded primer. You can get them clear or plain, and then we add a shadow. Mary Kay's eyeshadows can be used, believe it or not, as is, or you can even use them wet. And if you use them wet, you're using a really thin pencil to kind of dip it in water and here. But it gives a really soft look. And that's where everybody is when you're going through the chemo and the radiation. You can then take the same brush that has that thick, looks like a sponge end, and just give a little bit of underneath the eyes. Not a line. We're not talking about eyeliner, because
Right.
sometimes it's too harsh, unless it's a deep brown or steely gray. Those work great to create the illusion that your eye is open, you're awake, you're alive, but you don't have any eyebrows. I mean, excuse me, but the
I,
eyelashes are not there yet. So that's the workaround that is very effective, because really the number one question I always get is, what can you do to make my eyes pop?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
okay, this is a good place to start right here. And then the more comfortable she gets, we're gonna add some kind of funky color.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
really make them pop. Yeah, that's
Wow.
fun.
Right.
Fun. I remember obsessively when they started growing back, like I would like get up against the mirror and be like, look at my eyelashes. You know, I was very excited. Getting a little bit of growth, but I love those tricks of making it look that
Giving
way.
the impression of
That's
something
right.
being there versus trying to add something.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like the same issue with the eyebrows. Everybody might not be able to afford eyelashes, you know.
Right.
There's a wide range of issues, and breast cancer, all cancers are expensive. I
That's
mean,
right.
it just is,
That's right. That's
you
great.
know. All right.
So switching gears to skincare a little bit, I would love for each of you to spend a minute talking about, and I actually, again, personally, I have used both. Mary Kay's, the CE serum I have used and love it. I have used Miriam, the TTG, the Titan something glow, whatever. I love that. I love your vitamin C serum. I mean, I've definitely tried these products, and personally, I really have enjoyed both of them, but would love for y'all to speak about, like, just especially with post-cancer, the dryness that chemo can cause, but also just this time of year and aging and the dryness that comes with being a woman in January. And I would love to hear more about your thoughts on moisturizing hyaluronic acid. I do not say that word very well. Hyaluronic. I mean, we're reading more and more about the importance of that and
Yeah.
capturing moisture. So if y'all don't mind sharing what you
I
think
think
about that.
Celeste introduced to me for the first time she was
Oh,
on here,
really?
and I
Oh,
went out and
wow.
bought hers.
Yeah, great.
Or that's
So for me, like you all said, going through the breast cancer journey, it just dries your body out, right? And so and just with even in aging, as we get older, naturally you're going to get drier. So it's all about the moisture. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that I use. One of the biggest tips that I advise is to add a humidifier to your bedroom a couple of times a week. Get that moisture in, because we've got heat, we've got covers, we've got clothes, we've got wool, we've got all that stuff. So add a humidifier to your room a couple of times a week. Put your little lavender or something like that in it, so that it helps you rest well as well with the lavender. It can help you relax. So the biggest thing that we can give to ourselves for moisture is water, right? So I'm a big fan of, you all know I'm a huge fan of the hyaluronic acid. Everybody should have hyaluronic acid. Everybody should have vitamin C. Those two. But I also push my women to get what I make. This called a moisture water that's made with rose water. And I really push them to use that every morning, even through the day, if they want to moisturize their skin. And I also try to get the women to listen to their skin. Your skin will talk to you if you listen. And some women want to use soaps and stuff every day, and you don't have to use a soap every day. I encourage my women to also get an oil cleanser. This time of the year, I've been very dry, so I encourage them to get an oil cleanser that I make. And it has some castor oil in it and all these other amazing oils. It's got hyaluronic acid. I put vitamin C in it. I can put all the things in there that I want to. But we just have to make sure, and we want to take care of our skin barrier. So that's the big things with my products. A lot of them are oils and butters, and that takes care of that skin barrier. But the biggest thing is when you're adding the products to the skin, this is the biggest mistake that we make, is adding it to dry skin. You want to add any butter, lotion, serum, anything that you put on your skin, it needs to be moist, because you want to seal the moisture into the skin. If you put it on dry, you're sealing in dryness. So make sure as soon as you get out of the shower, when they say leave your skin a little moist, that's the reason for that. Um, I know I introduced my oldest brother to hyaluronic acid, and he's like this blue collar guy that's done very well in life. And you would never think he would really be into skincare like that. But I got him into the hyaluronic acid, and he called me. He said, "Sis, I look 10 years younger already." So that's how important it is, especially as we're getting older. But little tricks, but also you can take hyaluronic acid. I encourage women, if you can, and I always say consult with your doctors before you take anything. Take collagen if you can. So I do take supplements like that for my skin, but it's all about the water. And some days you may just cleanse with your oil cleanser. Sometimes you may cleanse with the oil cleanser and a soap, but just listen to your skin. What is your skin telling you? And that's what I do. I also, have you all ever heard of urea cream?
I have.
I have not.
It's old school.
Mhm.
It's real old school. It's spelled UREA, but it's very old school. If there's a cream that I would suggest, Urea cream is amazing for the skin. I put it on the bottom of my feet. If you get used, your feet will get dry. I don't know about you. Through chemo, my feet got extremely dry. But I take that urea cream and I mix it with some of my butters or some of my oils and put that on my feet. Baby, your husband's gonna be like, "Ooh, girl, your feet are so soft." But that's an amazing cream. But just the moisture, watching the heat, watching all the blankets and stuff like that, just pulling all of that. And of course, we've got to drink a lot of water. And another tip that I have for the skin and drinking water, if you all heard of Celtic salt.
I don't know about that.
So you can take a Celtic salt, put a few sprinkles of the Celtic salt under your tongue, and that draws moisture, hydration into your body. So that's great for your skin as well. Just little simple things that we can do. So, but the big thing for me, that humidifier, when it snowed the other day, I put a heater in my bedroom for extra heat. And I woke up the next morning and I was like, my face was dry and it was peeling. I was like, what in the world? I'm not using the information that I give to people. So I put a humidifier in my bedroom. Bam, my skin comes back. I'm washing my face with the oil cleanser. So my aunt is like 72, 73. She only washes her face with a soap maybe once a week. The rest of the week she uses the oil cleanser and then she moisturizes really good. And she looks great. She looks great. So moisture, water, water, water. In any way that you can get water into the skin, you want the water because that's going to keep you plump and looking young. I look at Liz, her skin is so plump and beautiful. I don't know what she uses, but it's plump and gorgeous, honey. Gorgeous.
Well, do you have any suggestions for what wine can do for your skin?
What wine? WINE?
Really,
Wine instead of water.
I really am.
Oh, well,
Oh, well,
you know,
and good
that-
plus,
it
but
falls
Now, we
into the
heard you.
relaxation category, which reduces your cortisol, so you're not as stressed. I mean, that's a way to work that in.
Listen, we
all
beat
the
cancer.
time.
We gotta live a little. You know what I mean? Like we beat cancer. We
Hey, I don't know what the wine does, but in some of my toners, I use sake.
okay.
I do use sake. In its fermented rice, there's and I can't remember the name. It starts with the P. This in that fermented rice is just amazing for the skin. So I do use that, and I'm coming out with a new moisturizer that's made with poke weed. Have you ever heard of poke weed? They say it's poisonous. It's the berries that are poisonous. It's not actually. I've been using the poke weed with castor oil and some hyaluronic acid, and baby, my skin has been loving it. So I'm excited to release that soon.
We'll stay on your good side.
That's right.
Awesome. All right. Well, very informative. Thank you. All right, Liz, do you have any thoughts to add?
You know, the only thing I would add, and you're absolutely right about the moisture, so critical. I have found that women who are on what I call the Mac Daddy of anti-aging, which is Mary Kay's line called Time Wise Repair, that has it has all of the gold standards of anti-aging products, but it is also not necessarily the right skincare for women who are going through chemo or coming on the other side. So I switched them to Mary Kay's Naturally line. And one of the because it has no anti-aging, but it is all about moisture and is so gentle. But the product that's in that line that is so phenomenal, it is an oil. It's called nourishing oil. And even after you're on the other side of chemo and radiation, just taking a drop of that and putting it in your foundation gives you, and Celeste, to your comment, gives you that dewy J-Lo glow, which is so healthy. Now, some women like a matte finish. I don't. But what I was going to tell you is that if you follow that moisturizer with a luminous moisturizer or even a CC cream. CC cream in Mary Kay, the CC stands for color correction. So sometimes there's all kinds of blotchy, dark spot. Hello, the skin is a hot mess.
Right.
In addition to the sisters up here and not twins. And so you want something that will even things out. And that's what a CC cream does color correction. It's got an SPF in it. But the one that I love, and I do use that in the summer, but I wear Luminous. It has a little bit more coverage than matte, but I add a drop of oil because I am on the other side of menopause. I am older. It is winter and it's dry. And it works and it's applied with a brush very, very sparingly. I mean, the days of a caked look, they're done because foundations today are so sophisticated because women want something that's light but does the job. And so that's what I would add to the issue of moisturizer is using one that doesn't have harsh and I'm not saying that anti-aging is harsh, it's not, but retinol is not an ingredient that women going through chemo or radiation should be using. And that is the Mac Daddy of anti-aging is retinol. So we just make those fine adjustments as she's going through that season of her life. And on the other end, when she comes out, my sister-in-law is 84 and came through multiple rounds of radiation and chemo. And when my younger brother saw her not too long ago, he kept staring at her. And he said, I can't believe your skin. It looks so wonderful. And I said, of course you told him. Why, didn't you? And she said, well, I didn't say anything. I was like, Seal, really? Thanks a lot. But she did it. And I saw her last week. She looks phenomenal. She has a great attitude. And I think that goes a long way in how you project yourself. But her skin looks great. And that's just because we have the ability to help women make the changes. They don't have to be big ones. Just change the formulas as you go along.
Tweaks.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's actually something we talk about at BRA all the time, just small incremental changes, because huge changes are overwhelming to everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
And that's really the way to approach anything, nutrition, exercise, all those things, just little small incremental changes that you
Yeah.
can do along the way to make your life more healthy, right?
Yeah, one step at a time.
And I now tell everybody, when I was younger, I used to want to exercise because I didn't like my body. And as I've been going through this healing journey, and I've said, my body has been amazing to me. How can I not show it the same love? And what I've been doing in this time is been going through the menopause, and I've been upset about having this big belly. But God said, show your body some love. So I leave this and saying, spend some time with your body, touch your body, look at your body in the mirror, feel it, tell it thank you for all that it does for you, and love it. And the love, they talk about how people talk to I'm a plant mama, and I talk to my plants, and that they do much better when I spend time with them, talk to them, play music for them. And the same thing goes for your body. When I started appreciating my body and showing it love, telling I appreciate you, I love you, it started making the changes on its own. I don't have to exercise as much as I used to, because I'm showing it loves in my diet and the drinking water, but just telling it, I love you and thank you. And so I also encourage women, don't get caught up like me. I used to think I had to work out twice a day and I had to do this and do that. And it's the small little things that we can do for ourselves, as well as giving it that love, that is going to make the changes.
And I bet the same is true for skin. I mean, if we just kind of can give ourselves all the things, right? Like we're going to nurture it, take care of it, do the best we can, and move on, and not beat ourselves up for the way it is in the moment, right? All right. Well, we've got people jumping off. I know we've run over time.
Well, we
so
just heard, I'll read it from a message for you from Jill. Ladies, I have to go. Thank you so very much for your inspiring stories and the wonderful insight into improving my beauty on the inside and outside. Have a great day. So
I appreciate both of you. Thank
Yeah,
you for
this
your
has been
time. It's been
wonderful.
so good to speak
It
to you.
has. I love spending time with you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we're so encouraged to have you, Liz. I'm so glad to get to know you a little bit more and know what you're up to. And we just thank you for pouring into ladies on BRA Banter today. And just thank you for the work that you're doing. It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's
Good work.
amazing.
Keep on keeping on. Thank you.
I
And
will.
BRA Banter will be back next month. We'll be talking about women's heart health.
That's right. We didn't plan this today, but we'll probably both be wearing red for February.
And you know what?
Sorry,
I'm gonna join you guys because I
Please do.
I
It's
need
February the 12th, and it'll be
Okay.
from 12 to 1, just like today, February the
Yeah.
12th. And our guest speaker will be somebody in the cardiology field. So we're
Okay.
looking
we're
forward to
working on
that.
that.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great afternoon. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
See
Thank
ya.
you.
Guys, have a great day. Bye
You
bye.
too.